Hello and welcome back to Bitcoin++. We're here near the end of the hackathon and we're going to visit some teams and see what they've been up to.
We're here at the BTC++ hackathon. It is a delight. This is new format where like the judges walk around and then they present to us is great. I can't reveal which ones I like, but one of them was freaking hilarious involving hash rate. But it's been a great time. I'm excited. I'm currently waiting for the judge in front of me to go through. I think he's taking longer than that. We're supposed to have 3 minutes per time, but that's okay. Maybe he's excited about it. This is awesome. We'll see who wins.
Hi, I'm joined here by Chris Guida at Bitcoin++. Chris, what have you been working on?
Hey, so as Walton mentioned, I'm Chris Guida, and this is my project, Garbage Man. So you may have heard of this project called Libra Relay. It's a fork of Bitcoin Core whose purpose is to facilitate the relay of garbage around the Bitcoin mempool. And so it allows, I think it allows OffReturns up to like 100,000 bytes, something like that. Just like kind of humongous, just absolute garbage transactions. And it does this so that they're more likely to make it to a miner and then get actually into a block. And the way that it does this is there's some extra code in there that does preferential peering. So it has 4 slots that it
is in Libre,
Relay, yeah. So it basically looks for other Libra Relay nodes on the network, and it says, hey, these are my friends. I want to maintain strong, persistent connections with these nodes.
Okay.
And so that's what preferential peering is. And then it excitedly relays all of the garbage to its friends so that they can get out as quickly and as widely as possible. And so the cool thing about this code is that it's open source, and so you can just cherry pick it onto any node that you want, and you can make any node look like a Libra Relay node. And so so you may have heard of this other project called Bitcoin Knots, and Bitcoin Knots has, by default, a much more restrictive mempool policy, and it actually doesn't like to relay garbage around. That's actually configurable. You can turn off all the defaults if you want, but the defaults are pretty restrictive, and most people running Knots will be, against relaying garbage. And so that's what I did. So I have a patched Knots node that pretends to be a Libra Relay node, and then Libra Relay goes out and it finds all of these Knots nodes, and it goes, hey, these are my friends. This is great. Like, look at all these people running Libra Relay.
So your quasi-Knots nodes are relaying a subset of the transactions that Libra Relay nodes would, but the Libra Relay nodes think, oh, we're getting the full set because those are our trusted Libra Relay friends.
Those are our trusted Libra Relay friends, exactly, because they're signaling on bit 29.
Okay.
So that it's called, Node Libre. If you look in the Libre, so I don't know should I show the screen or
if you'd like to, sure, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, so the demo is, you've got a regular Libra Relay node, run-of-the-mill, vanilla Libra Relay node. It thinks everything is fine, and then the other node. This is the other tab. It's a Bitcoin Knots node that's been patched with the Libra Relay code, and so basically, and they're peered together. So as you can see, the Knots node. Network info. So the Knots node has this is signaling this little Libra flag here, right? I have to fix this. That makes it a little obvious. Yeah. But you can change that to whatever you want, so it's fine. And then Libra Relay, if you do get peer info.
Services that are
get
centralized.
peer info.
Yeah.
You can see that it's peered with the Knots node. Okay.
Well, really nice work.
So it has this peer. It's Libra, so it's fine. It says Knots right now. It probably isn't doing anything with that, so it's still a preferential peer. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a garbage transaction, which is just the word spam repeated a bunch of times but converted into hex. It's 145 bytes, so it's way too big. And then we're going to, did I create that? Yeah, okay. So then we're going to sign it, and then we're going to broadcast it. And then, so the Libra Relay node is going, all right, this is in my mempool. I'm gonna excitedly tweet this to all my preferential Libra Relay friends. Look at us, we're relaying this garbage. And so it gives that to the Knots node, and the Knots node, as you can see, it's not in the mempool, so it just throws it away. So because Knots is much more popular than Libra Relay, it's very likely that all of the preferential peers will actually be these fake Libra Relay nodes that are really just throwing away all the garbage. So that's why it's called Garbage Man, because it's taking out
the trash.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Chris. Randy, so tell us what you've been working on here.
Yeah, so this is what I call simple ARC wallet. You have a number of sats, and you have this balance that I have in dollars. and I wanted to try to demonstrate how an Arc wallet would look like, because you have this refresh feature, which isn't present in many Lightning wallets or on-chain wallets. And right now, this is using Bark, which is made by Second. It's a Second Arc implementation.
And what's specific about this art implementation?
They're trying to be focused on payments, and I like that aspect of them. Whereas Arc Labs is maybe a bit more powerful with the features that it offers, and it kind of spreads itself over a wide variety of use cases.
And this works now without covenants.
This works now without covenants. This is using Clark.
Okay, yeah, Clark. Yeah, so covenantless Arc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just multi-sigs,
Yeah,
right? And
cool.
signing. When you receive, you actually, there's a pub key that you use instead of like the traditional address. And,
Isn't this how Bitcoin used to work?
yes.
Received to pub key?
Yes, there was pay to public key.
Pay to public key. Is that the first one?
Yeah. And it, quickly moved to pay to public key hash. People like it better. But yeah, you could send and receive with this. So I just copied my pub key. I want to send, the roundings off on this page. Don't have to look at that part. But if I change this pub key to be somebody else, you should see my balance reduced. So let's just do 1,000 so that we can just keep track on this 5 review. There is no fee. I have a fee here, but right now Bark doesn't ask for fees when you make a transaction. And you press confirm, okay, and then this should have went down, and I think it was 5, right? It's 4.
So how do you manage to do this without fees? Is it that every party in the payment has to be part of the same Arc?
They should be charging fees. At the
Okay.
implementation, this is running off Master, and it doesn't by default, but I'm sure it can be configured to actually charge fees.
Does the receiver and the sender need to be part of the Arc in advance?
No. So
No.
I could send to you, or an address that you've made in the Arc, and now you're just part of the Arc. And
Okay.
you actually get all the cost savings, that I got sending it to you, sending to whoever you want in the Arc. Now, if you want to offboard, you can do that too, but then it incurs an on-chain cost. So.
Let's talk a little bit more about the on-chain cost if you want to get out of Arc, because to me this is one of the biggest limitations that it has, right? Unlike, say, Lightning, you might only need to self-custodial Lightning, you only need to do one on-chain transaction to get out of the channel. My understanding is for Arc, you need more than one on-chain transaction. Is that right?
No, for you to exit, you can actually do one on-chain transaction. And the way that Bark at least handles it is they sign a whole bunch of different paths.
Okay.
So usually you get combinatorial explosion when this happens, but if you kind of confine the users in certain tree paths, you can limit how bad it's going to be to actually exit yourself.
So this is assuming you don't have just like one user wanting to leave in a high fee environment, or even those edge cases aren't a problem here.
So if one user wanted to leave in a high fee environment and they didn't have enough like Bitcoin in the UTXO, they actually wouldn't be able to leave. It wouldn't be
Fine.
feasible for them. So at least right now in this test implementation, they force you to have at least dust. But there are cases where you might be locked in the Arc, and they understand that as well. It's just something they have to work around.
Cool.
My product is OffReturn.space.
Oh, cool.
Go ahead, take a seat.
Yeah, but it's okay if you're in camera.
Sure.
Cool.
All right, so this is Peter's side. He wants to remove the OffReturn limit.
I've heard of this man. Yeah,
Many
okay.
people reject his message. I hated him because he opened a dumb PR.
Why is the PR dumb? Okay, yeah.
Some people say the haters. So, what if the PR was merged? It would be a lot of fun if you could upload arbitrary amounts of data to the blockchain without an 80 byte restriction.
Okay.
So, we have a form, text input, and you can put anything you want in here.
Okay.
So we can just put something like on the Bitcoin plus, or we could go spicy and upload a picture of a monkey and quite the basics.
Oh, is that a monkey JPEG? Are you gonna put a monkey JPEG in the chain?
That is a monkey JPEG.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just gonna send it. Data has been uploaded. So as you can see here, this is a block explorer.
Very cool.
Very more terminal-like UI, made with my CSS library.
Oh, I love it. That's great.
After this, we're joined by Orange Surf, who's going to tell us all about Pleb Priority.
So, welcome to Pleb Priority. The idea of this is Bitcoin Core does an amazing job of knowing about in-band block space bids, provided that your policy rules are incentive compatible. But out-of-band block space bids, less so, and understandably that's not part of Core's remit. And where do these out-of-band bids come from? Well, they either come from individual pools, or the Mempool Accelerator, which is where I work, has a marketplace with 80% of the network hash rate, accelerating and giving out band bids.
Just to go back, just my understanding a little bit about Mempool accelerators is that it does use some of these pools.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Yes. So it's providing as any of the large mining pools that are interested have signed up to Mempool Accelerator, and we're looking in the future to be able to make the service available to a wider audience, including hopefully in the future pleb miners. And this is a concept of how we might be able to do that.
So are you a broker of the acceleration here?
It's an acceleration marketplace.
Okay.
So we make the bid available to anyone, and whoever includes the transaction in their block will then earn the acceleration fees.
Cool.
So what are the problems with the current system? Well, at the moment, the fact we only have relationships with large miners and pools means that the pleb miner loses out in comparison. So they earn less revenue than the exact same amount of hash rate with a large pool.
And this is just because of the discrepancy between the energy rates that they're typically able to get?
This is just because the pleb miner doesn't have access to the out-of-band bids that the Mempool Accelerator
As well. Yeah.
And the other downside is the fee projection, if you're only looking at in-band bids, is less accurate than if you take into account the out-of-band bids. So for example, if there's a 50 sat per vbyte accelerated transaction, your node at the moment doesn't know about that.
This is what I don't like, is because this is, can you call this mempool fragmentation? That essentially you have problems pricing because you don't know about certain transactions that exist in other mempools. Right.
So fortunately, we've got an open API. So our idea was, let's get the accelerations from the Mempool Space API, let's store them locally, and then let's apply them to our local Bitcoin core node. And so we've got an example of a transaction that wasn't expected to be confirmed anytime soon. It's a 1 sat per vbyte. It's got a 110 sat fee, and it wasn't in our next block template on my laptop. So we then accelerated it using Mempool Accelerator, and we've got 2 pieces of code that we've made open source and available today. So the first one's a JavaScript logger that basically looks for the WebSocket to give us information about the acceleration. And then the second one is a Rust script, which then applies that acceleration to our local node. So,
And is acceleration just RBF?
no, so the acceleration is treating a transaction with a low fee rate as though it has a higher fee rate. So you can see here.
So the additional payment is made out of band to the miner in those situations, whereas an RBF you're taking that additional fee from the same transaction.
Yeah, and you may want to do this for a transaction that you don't control.
Just
Just
So-
make sure that's clear. Where you can't RBM as easy.
but it's distinct from child pays for parent as well. Yeah.
In all of those cases, you have to sign a new transaction, which means you need a private key.
Okay.
In this case, you're just saying to the miner, please can you include an additional fee as though the transaction paid a higher fee. So here you can see the base fee is 110 sats, but the modified fee that our node is treating the transaction as though it has is 2,110 sats.
What happens after Peter Wooler's cluster mempool gets introduced to this sort of stuff?
Well, even in that scenario, you still have the ability to apply a fee delta and pretend as though a transaction's got a higher fee rate. So
my understanding was that's what he was trying to eliminate but I guess that's more where miners are kind of faking this, but what's the difference?
well, miners are using a Bitcoin Core RPC called Prioritized Transaction that's existed in Bitcoin Core for a long time. And so this is how they've historically been able to prioritize their own payouts to their miners in their own blocks. And the way that the accelerator services work is they apply that prioritization on behalf of somebody else's transaction.
Okay.
So if you want to prioritize your transaction and I'm a miner, you say, look, Orange, I'll pay you an additional 1,000 sats if you include my transaction. I use the prioritized transaction RPC, and my node, when it's calculating which transactions to pick, it will treat your transaction as though it has an additional 1,000 sats of in-band fee.
Sure. My understanding is currently miners will sometimes try and essentially game the fee rate within a block by including some artificially priced transactions at the beginning of the block with a very high fee rate that's them just paying themselves or something like this, such that then all of the people that want to be in the next block then have to pay the kind of Uber surge pricing, right, to be in that next block.
Yes, it's theoretically possible, but if you were to make those publicly available, then any miner could also take those very high fee rate transactions.
But I think they're not making those available, or are they?
If they don't make them publicly available, then it can't bias anyone else because no one else will know about them.
Okay.
But in this case,
But it's only the miner themselves that gets to look into the transaction, right? And see.
If you're fee estimating like Ocean, then what you're talking about is true.
Okay.
If you're fee estimating like everyone else, then what you're saying doesn't apply.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So what we've got today is some code that's available which does this. So it will modify the effective fee rate of transactions in your local mempool by applying these fee deltas, which gives you better fee estimation. If you're doing some random fee estimation approach using your own Bitcoin core node, you would be able to take into account these out-of-band bids. But in the future, theoretically, this could be a way that plebs are able to mine blocks containing out-of-band accelerations, and then theoretically, Mempool Space could see, oh, this pleb mine block included a bunch of accelerations. We're going to make a payment to the Coinbase output of that block to compensate them for doing this. So in the same way that the large pools are able to access the accelerator revenue today, in theory, this could be a way that the small pleb miners are able to also earn out-of-band accelerations without having to have a existing relationship with Mempool.
And who's coordinating this?
Well, at the moment, the API that Mempool is making available is completely open. So anyone can run that themselves, this software themselves on their Bitcoin core node and make the modification. Now, if they were to then see the blocks that actually get found, they could see whether or not the data that Mempool had given them was accurate. So if a block was found that didn't include these prioritizations, but that was made by a miner that is using Mempool Accelerator, then you'd say, well, I'm not going to trust the recommendations that I'm being given. But if every single time you see a block, you see that, yeah, Mempool Accelerator told me this transaction would be included, and I can see that it was included in a block, then you would have confidence in the data that you're receiving going forward.
Would you say that accepting out-of-band payments for transactions is essentially a block space arbitrage type opportunity, and this gets opened up to plebs with this technology, where it's currently only available to the miners?
Yeah, I'd say like theoretically, the arbitrage is between a difference between what is consensus, like what the peer-to-peer relay transactions are, and what theoretically you can do with a centralized system. And so by having this direct relationship with 80% of the hash rate, the Mempool Accelerator is able to get transactions prioritized where, for example, RBF or CPFP aren't practical. But the downside of that is that at the moment, there is no way for a pleb miner to also include those prioritizations and get paid for it. And there's no way for people to see their local Bitcoin core node getting updated with these prioritizations. Whereas what we've proposed is a way of very simply incorporating this extra data. And in this case, we've used the Mempool Accelerator API because it's the only publicly available API for these kind of accelerations. Theoretically, if there was a different API, then you could also ingest that and use those to prioritize your local node.
What are the risks for individuals running the accelerator for other people, or are there none?
So they're not. No one's running the accelerator.
Can you come a bit close, because we're already mic'd up here, Tidwell?
Oh, sorry. I also feel like I'm like budging out.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but the idea is, because it's public, right? You're not really running this for anyone. You can only like really benefit from someone. There's not really like a risk associated with it, because you can ultimately verify those transactions that are saying like, hey, by the way, don't be surprised. This transaction just got super bumped. You expect this to be in the next block to help you, whatever your service or your transactions. So there's like really like no downside of the risk, especially if you don't trust. You can always verify the signatures and all that kind of stuff of the bump. But
I just thought, of course, there are many wallets that, of course, still don't do RBF, and so for people that use those sorts of wallets, this would enable those people to accelerate their transactions.
Think of it like this: like there's out-of-band transactions. We're going to bring those inbound again. Make transactions inbound again. So we're doing our best to bring those back into.
So you agree with the statement that relay policy should be as close to mempool policy as possible?
Oh, I didn't say that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Alex came up to me in the last couple of minutes before the submission deadline and was like, hey, why don't you code something up on vibe coding?
Let's go. Okay,
And I was like, sure. So in the 2 minutes, in the first 30 seconds, I came up with the idea, and the last minute, I tried to implement it.
Oh, what'd you get? Okay.
The idea is a problem that we currently have with the hash rate marketplace, where when people come to buy hash rate from the miners that sell in our marketplace, in order to take delivery of that hash rate, they need to pass the seller, the miner, the pool server, where to direct that miner, and the account name at the pool, where they're going to be taking delivery of it, right? Where basically the pool registers who this work that they're generating belongs to within the account server.
That makes sense. It's like it's kind of interesting. It's like it's an active registry of getting that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening a lot of
Literally a
times
shareholder registry.
is a shareholder registry for mining pool shares. Exactly. Yeah. So they have their table with their different accounts, and then they basically just tabulate, okay, which shares belong to which account. And what we've done, or what often happens on the marketplace, is that you have some user that comes along and says, okay, I find like the pool server, I type that in, and then I need to find or pass along my account information, the account name from that pool, and it's mistyped. And what ends up happening is we pass those parameters along straight to the miner, to the actual machine, or it's actually to our proxy server, but when our proxy server then forwards that information to the pool, there's an incompatibility and there's no work generated for the miner. Which creates a problem because the buyer's on the hook for the time that miner is being pointed to them, meaning that it's not really getting pointed to the place where it can generate work. So that creates kind of a problem within the accounting for us.
Yeah, your registry is like bad data in your registry.
It's bad data, and there's not work being generated for the miner, which is a problem because there's an opportunity for the person that's selling, and the buyers isn't getting actual.
What they pay for.
So it's a problem on both ends.
Got it.
So a simple solution is just to create a tester here, where you say, hey, we pass along the server and the account name. To basically test the first two messages of the strategy. Those messages are first subscribe, where you send the message to the pool server and say, hey, I'm a new connection. You don't pass in any parameters, you just say, hey, might we subscribe? The pool responds true, it received the message, and it's like, cool, you have the handshake done. And then the next message, which we do pass along the only parameter here, which is the account name, which is authorized. So the authorized message says, hey, this work should get authorized under this account with you.
Yeah.
And if it responds true, it's because it has that account name registered in its registry. And if it's false, it is not.
Right.
So then we go over here and we can test the connection to see if it works. I haven't quite gotten it to work. That's the idea.
Good. Connection failed. They need the wrong username.
Apparently, I put the wrong username. Yeah, that's the problem.
Cool. And so this will help get rid of problems that users have with not getting the shares they paid for.
That's right.
Very cool. Thanks.
Hi, welcome back to Bitcoin Plus Plus. I'm here, joined by Sagun, to talk about Open Auto Pay, autonomous BTC SATs payments by Agentic AIs. What a name! Sorry.
So thanks. Let me quickly highlight, a fundamental problem right now in the market where you're all using different chat GPTs and LLMs and effectively you give a goal to some of these agentic AIs to achieve a certain goal. The way this agentic AI goes about is actually it breaks down into smaller tasks, but it fails when it hits a paywall to kind of actually make a payment for any of the resources it's trying to acquire. Mm-hmm. And that means we have a problem. AI does not have a bank account. AI needs a bank account. So like humans have bank accounts, which are typically involved with KYC, AI, how will you KYC an AI? So that's the perplexing question right now in the minds of people who are actually building agentic AI internet. So if you really look at how the internet was built, we have this checkout cart that you typically see on an e-commerce website where you have various options of fiat and Bitcoin Lightning payments. This is built for a human being where there is a GUI. When you talk about agentic AIs, they don't involve and work with GUI. This is exactly where the MCP protocol, the model context protocol comes into play from an AI standpoint. And
am I misinformed? I thought I've seen agents browsing to sites and using credit cards to pay for things.
No, right now, no. So there are few new modules.
A couple of them, yeah.
That have come out in the last month.
In the last month, correct.
In the last month.
Yeah.
So what you see here is MasterCard, Visa, PayPal, Stripe, Coinbase, and some of the other cryptos are also working on this. But what we believe is the real use case for agentic AI is microtransactions at a very high frequency. So imagine your credit card is getting charged for every 30 seconds a payment of 50 cents. What is the typical behavior you would see from a card network player? They will
It's going to be treated as spam, right? And shut
spam
down. Yeah.
and shut down.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not native to the fiat card companies.
And there's small flat fees on some of the transactions, right? And so actually you can't do the micropayments.
Absolutely. So there is a ground floor 30-cent transaction fee, which doesn't make sense if your actual fee is 15 cents.
Right,
Like
you wanted to subscribe to a service per time.
per time,
Yeah.
15 seconds, like 15 cents, then that is where it is. That's where the opportunity is. So our belief at Open Autopay SDK is that we can build an SDK like the BDK Wallet SDK and give it to developers where it meshes together all the 4 protocols. So the L402, the Lightning Network, the Noster, and also the MCP.
What's L402? I'm not familiar.
So
Sorry.
L402 is how Lightning Labs recently demonstrated a year back, where you have macaroons and pre-images being used to authenticate in a decentralized way payments over internet resources. So Lightning Labs actually demonstrated this. They've created called L402. The most interesting part here is that 2 days back, Coinbase released something called as X402. So they're all kind of trying to now fight this space. This is getting heated up. It's because because of the demand from agentic AI. So agentic AI is trying hard, saying I need a native wallet to make payments on the internet, and typically these would be microtransactions at a very high frequency. I think Lightning is built for this. Lightning acts as the interoperability layer also between the other L2s that we have. So one of the biggest challenges that we will face going forward is, even within the Bitcoin ecosystem, you have so many other L2s coming up, which is from Lightning, Liquid, eCash, Fedi, Arc, now Spark by Lightspark as well. And there are many more that we are talking about. So eventually, even the agentic AI will feel fragmented, holding 40 wallets for 40 different L2s. This is where I think Lightning will have a great interoperability layer role it'll play by doing
is that settlement layer between all of these things.
all of these. And then the SDK will ensure that it gives you compatibility across all of these L2s, so that the developer then can focus on the higher level application layer to solve for with its agentic AI capability, rather than to solve for a lower level every new L2 protocol that comes up. So effectively, the Open Auto Pay SDK can actually abstract away the lower level complexities of L2, giving more power to the developer and time back to actually focus on the actual application. So one of the most interesting applications could be like you trying to fly over to a Bitcoin conference, and you typically book tickets worth $200 from your past experience for that particular conference. Now you can actually give and delegate this to an agentic AI to say, hey, go for it. Here is my budget of $150 and find me the best ticket nonstop to that destination for that Bitcoin conference. And this agentic AI is unleashed overnight while you're sleeping. It takes care of this goal to achieve booking of a ticket flight with that budget contour of $150, and it ends up achieving by the time you wake up. So you don't have to spend your 20 minutes or 2 hours looking through various tabs of different websites to actually look for the best ticket price.
Amazing, thank you.
That's one of the use cases that it can solve. You can extrapolate.
Welcome back to Bitcoin Plus.
Hey everybody, we're coming back with the finalist presentations of the official hackathon for Bitcoin Plus in Austin. Hope you enjoyed the science fair style judging expo to get to this point, but we have 6 phenomenal finalist projects to present on stage for you to determine who's going to win the top 3 overall prizes. So first up is Calvin with your project, so take it away.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? All right. So Bitaxes, really cool. I love them, or I love the one I have. The one problem that I think they have is there's no password protection. So like, just picture this. You got your friend over who's like just over for dinner or something like that, and you give him the Wi-Fi password, and he sees, oh, he's got a Bitax. And then he just goes to, where's my Bitax? Right here. You just look at the screen right here. You go to the IP that's listed on that's on the screen, and you can just change anything you want on it. Specifically, you can change this one setting right here, which is your wallet address. If you're solo mining specifically, you can just change that address to your own address, and then your friend's Bitax, or your Bitax, will be mining for your friend, which, honestly, I'd rather my Bitax mine for me. So the problem, okay. What I did instead was I added basic authentication to it using HTTP. And you can still see all the info if you'd like to, but if you want to change any of the settings, you will have to enter your password, which you can set in this security menu right here. So I'm going to open up a brand new window. I just flashed this Bitax with the software, so I go to the Bitax, and if I go to my pool settings and try to change this address right here to my friend's wallet address, wallet, hit save, it will not work. What you have to do is authenticate yourself somehow. Now, there are many ways you can authenticate it yourself. Well, and by many I mean one. There's one way. You have to change your password and your username, because default is just admin, which is honestly not very safe either. So what you do right here, you set a new password. For example, you can't steal my Bitcoin. My username. You can set your username to this. And you can set your password to something else, like this. Password, that's an idea that I will not take. And then, see right here, it's having me sign in with the stock admin. And see, right now it has taken these new credentials, and you have to start a new window. XOS. And now, if I try to go, for example, to the network and change the host name to something else, it will ask me. I can change it to you can't steal my Bitcoin. That was a great idea to make a long username. And see, that changed it. I go to my pool settings, I change this to my other wallet, hit save, and it works. And there you go. Now your friend who's over at dinner can't steal your Bitcoin. It's that easy.
Do you plan on submitting this to PR back to the Bitax codebase?
Yes. There's still some polishing to do. Like I think like when you first open up your Bitax, you should like get a message saying, "Hey, change your password." And preferably, I'd like to be able to add a prompt for the password on all of the pages instead of just 2 of the pages. For some reason, I can't get it to show up on all of them, so you have to authenticate in one of them, and then you can change the settings elsewhere. But yes.
What happens if you put in the wrong password?
Reset your Bitax. Oh, should I? If I get the wrong.
You mean
password?
it resets it, like starts it, or like back to factory default?
Oh, no, nothing happens. It just like does not let you change it. So if you lose your password, you have to reset your Bitax.
Cool. That's it.
Garbage man, let's go.
Garbage Man, you're up. Hash League, you're on deck. Hash League, you're next.
Let's see. Okay, am I mirrored? Can you guys see that? Okay, yeah. Great.
There's a lot of spam.
Yes, yeah, there's spam happening. All right, so just anytime. Hi guys, my name is Chris Guida, and this is my project, Garbage Man. I hope you enjoy. So the background for this project is there's been a lot of spam going around on Bitcoin in the mempool. And there's been this kind of like, most people don't like the spam, but I've seen a lot of this attitude of, well, we can't do anything to fight the spam. And so I thought it might be constructive and, return some morale to Bitcoiners to show that there actually is something that we can do to fight the spam. So there's this project that you may have heard of called Libra Relay. And Libra Relay's purpose is to facilitate the relay of garbage around the mempool so that it's easier for miners to find the garbage and put it into blocks. And so, and the way that it does this is it does something called preferential peering, which means that it actually has 4 additional slots that are reserved just for Libra Relay nodes. And the way that it does this is it actually it has a new service bit called Node Libra, which is bit number 29, I guess. And so this tells other Libra Relay nodes, hey, I'm a Libra Relay node too. I have a very permissive relay policy, and so I'm going to help you relay around garbage, right? So that what they do is they keep each other like in that preferential list, and they make sure that they keep those set connections very solid. So people on the internet use this as a rhetorical device to say, oh, well, spam filters won't work. They'll never work because Libra Relay. And that's just like the end of the argument, as though that's like a good argument. So I'm going to demonstrate that that's not a very good argument. So the cool thing about this preferential peering code is that it's open source. And so what that means is that you can basically just put this into any Bitcoin node and make it look like a Libra Relay node. And so, as you also might be aware, there's another project called Bitcoin Knots, which has a much more restrictive relay policy by default. It actually has much more controls, more granular control over the mempool policy settings. But most people who are running Knots nodes are probably doing it because they don't like the spam and they're trying to help filter it. So what Garbage Man is it's a Knots node that pretends to be a Libra Relay node. And so the really cool thing about this is that there are way more Knots nodes on the network than Libra Relay nodes. And so Libra Relay is going to go out and it's going to find these Knots nodes that are pretending to be Libra Relay nodes, and it's going to make friends with them and keep them like high on its list, and it's going to make sure that it doesn't drop those connections. But of course the Knots nodes are just throwing away the garbage, and so that's why I called it Garbage Man, because it's collecting the garbage and then it's throwing it away. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. So the demo is I've got these 2 reg test nodes. I have a plain vanilla Libra Relay node here, and it has and then I have a modified Knots node here with the Libra Relay bit set. So this is this feature is not completely done. It actually gives away that it's a NOTS node in its little UA comment here. But this is very easy to change. We can just remove that from the code. That's just hard coded. So that's fine. But as you'll see it's got this little Libra bit turned on, and so it's peered with this plain vanilla Libra node who thinks it's just a regular Libra relay node. And so you can see it's connected to this NOTS node. There's no code in Libra Relay, I don't think, that can read this and do anything about it, but it doesn't matter because we can remove it, like I said. So okay, so basically the demo is Libra Relay is happily paired with this NOTS node. It thinks it's a Libra Relay node, and it's going to create some spam. By the way, this is just spam a bunch of times converted into hex. It's 145 bytes, so it fits into Libra Relay's policies. So we're going to sign the transaction, and then we're going to send the raw transaction, and then we're going to take this, and we're going to get the, get the mempool entry. Okay, so on Libra Relay, it's like, yeah, that's fine. That's in my mempool. It's waiting to get. We're excitedly telling all of our friends, all of our Libra Relay friends that are totally going to relay these to the miners. It's going to be awesome. We're going to get all this junk into the blocks, and so but the NOTS node just throws it away. So yeah, so we're taking out the garbage. Sorry, I meant to leave time for questions.
Questions?
You should just have it say garbage not in mempool. Should you not?
What? Sorry, I missed that.
Instead of, huh?
I missed that, sorry.
Instead of saying transaction not in mempool, you should change it to garbage not in mempool.
Yes,
should you not?
It's not a descriptive, very descriptive error message. You're right.
Would it be simpler to just hard code the 3 IPs of Libra Relay nodes?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I hadn't considered that. Maybe that would have been even easier. This was pretty easy. I literally just cherry picked the code and fixed some merge conflicts, but that would be even easier. Yeah.
So have you run this on mainnet yet?
No, this is just reg test right now.
And Luke, are you going to merge it?
To be determined.
So the feature is not done yet. It needs to be configurable. Right now, you just build a branch and it's on. So,
but I thought clearly garbage is bad. So why would you make it configurable? Why would you distribute software where you could relay garbage?
Well, the NOTS philosophy is to give its users control over the controls. So
have you thought through what's going to happen when I don't know? So let's say 1,000 NOTS nodes are running this.
Yeah. I think what will happen is basically it's very unlikely that Libra Relay nodes will find other actual Libra Relay nodes.
But can you
because there's so many more NOTS nodes.
Awesome. Thank you, Garbage Man. Next up we have Hash League. On deck is Memcooler.
Then I guess we'll go ahead and get started. All right, I'm Steven, this is Maru. We're presenting Hash League. So the context that you need to understand before we get into the demo is that Bitcoin communities are somewhat competitive. Which city has the best Bitcoin technical conference? Some might disagree. Which city has the coolest Bitcoin hackerspace? Which city throws the most lit parties for Bitcoiners? Okay, we're all kidding around here, obviously. We all like to come to each other's events, come to each other's hacker spaces. It's all friendly competition. When everyone's trying to compete to make the coolest Bitcoin city, you end up with more fun meetups, more fun conferences, you attract more people, and maybe those people will learn about Bitcoin, maybe even become protocol devs one day. But still, Bitcoiners are competitive, right? It's kind of in our nature. So Then to kind of circle back to the conference that we're at right now here in Austin, we've been talking about mining. We have centralization problem. That's obviously with the manufacturer of equipment. That's with the control of hash rate, the control of block template construction, all that stuff. So we were thinking, what if we could take this competition, this friendly competition amongst Bitcoin cities, and use that to try and push for miner decentralization. And that's why we created Hash League. And it's a leaderboard that ranks Bitcoin communities on the combined hash rate that they're able to put together. So we're going to do a demo now. This is live at hashleague.atlbitlab.com. I'm going to scoot over to the live web application right here. So you can see here we have a map of the world. We have various Bitcoin communities plotted on the map here, and we can go look around at everything. Let's take a look at Miami. Oh, they've got zero. Sorry, what now? Yeah, sorry about that. It's just the light and the lighting in here, and it's a dark mode thing. But we'll work on that in the next release. But yeah, so Miami, 0 hash rate. Nashville, 0 hash rate. Austin, 0 hash rate. Atlanta, 3.30 terahash per second. So this is pooling from a mining pool API. We set up our own ATL BitLab pool. This is the humble response from our API right here. But anybody who runs their own instance of public pool for their community meetup can basically go here and they can click here. They can get to the form. They can submit their API endpoint, and then this web app will ingest the data from that API and present it here. So as a proof of concept, we've also taken another public pool instance. We didn't know where they were located, so we just dropped them in Antarctica just to be goofy, but we're pulling in their API as well. So that's kind of the basic gist of how the application works. Sorry, the map doesn't show up too well in this room's lighting. But yeah, the basic idea of this is that if you want to compete with ATL Hashforce, you need to go back home to your meetups, you need to get your people running Bitaxes, and you need to get them learning about mining, and you need to start a community mining pool. Maybe even talk to Evan Price and get a proxy pool set up and point that at Ocean or something fun like that. Get creative with it, but have fun with it and get your people mining because we're coming for you and hash rate. The way we built this is a web app. It uses TypeScript and Vite. We use public pool hosted on EC2 instance to govern our mining pool. Some of our miners are actually in the back of the room, hooked up to power. I'll reclaim those in a moment. We use mempool.space API for some of the global hash rate stuff. You can go check out our commit history there at the QR code. It's our Git repo if you're into that sort of thing. But yeah, that's it. And the ball's in your court now. Get your people to run some fucking miners.
Couple questions.
Any questions?
Awesome. Thanks so much, Hash League. Up next, we have Memcooler and Rainforest. You are on deck.
All right. Hello, everyone. So my project is called Memcooler. It's like Mempools, but a lot cooler. And it's basically a slipstream knockoff using Noster and eCash. So instead of having a centralized service where you go to their website, put in your credit card, and send them your non-standard transaction, instead we'll use Noster. And so I'm just going to kind of fly through this a little bit, but I made a new event kind that's a replaceable event where a miner could announce itself on Noster and say, hey, I'm a miner, I accept these kinds of transactions. And then in hindsight, I'm thinking maybe I should have just done the communication between transactors and miners with just DMs, but I made a new event kind that's an ephemeral event, so it just gets relayed over Noster and then lands on the miner, and then the miner will decide if they want to add it to their mempool or not. So the announcement looks something like this. It's just a Noster event, and then it has some tags where you can put different data, including the payment method. So it could be free to add transactions to this miner's mempool, or they can charge cashew tokens, or theoretically any sort of payment method would work here. And then there's another event where the transactors, the people that want to get their transactions into blocks, will make this event and send it to the miner. And then there's a response just so that the miner can tell the transactor if their transaction has a chance of getting in the next block, or if the miner accepted it into their mempool. So moving on to the demo. Here I have two different instances up. So on the left here, I am going to create a new Noster account as a miner. So you could log in with any other method, but this will just generate a private key. And over on the right here, I did the same thing, but I'm a transactor. So here I'm going to be a miner. This is a new miner that wants to announce themselves on Noster. And so I'm just putting in the relay that I want transactors to talk to me over, and then just some extra metadata for whatever reason, like maybe you want to say that you're in Brazil, and then people transacting can choose to prioritize miners in Brazil. You can also do some virtue signaling, tell people what type of energy you use for your mining operation, and maybe tell them that you like JPEGs. And here they could configure whatever sort of filters they want, so like could, for whatever reason, not accept Taproot transactions. And I'm also going to turn on payments. So I'm going to say I require 10 sats for, you have to give me 10 sats in eCash to add your transaction to my mempool. So now I've just announced myself on Noster as a miner, and then here as someone that wants to send a transaction. Here's all the other miners that have announced themselves, but this one just a minute ago is the one we just announced, and so you can go and look at them, see where they are in the world, what sorts of transactions they'll accept, and this also is telling us that it costs 10 sats. So I'm going to say that I want to send to this miner, and something that I didn't get around to is like any sort of filtering or anything, but ideally you would take your transaction and put it in here, and then this sort of list would show you how much it would cost to broadcast, to get this transaction into these miners' mempools, and then you could pick which one you want. But for now, we have this miner here, so I'm going to send this, and we need a 10 sat token. So I'll put this in here. And then we just received the transaction over Noster, and then this miner would then kind of perform whatever sort of validation they want, make sure it meets their requirements, and this should all happen sort of automatically. But then if it meets their filters, then it would get added to the mempool, and they'd start including it in their block templates.
Questions?
Is there any chance that a miner in this thing could just keep the sats and then not broadcast your transaction?
Yes, that's 100% possible. But right now, I think it's kind of comparable to what exists today with these sorts of solutions. And then I think there's more ways that we could get around that because we're using eCash. We can kind of make conditional payments. So maybe we could do DLCs like this. This website could be an oracle, and if that transaction makes it in a block, then that token could be claimed by the miner or something like that.
Why not do an option that's specifically just to go broadcast the transaction on Noster and say, hey, please go mine it?
I guess there is no reason to not do that. Just turn Noster into the mempool.
Sounds good to me.
But I guess this...
It'll go fight garbage, man.
Awesome. Great job, Memcooler. Up next is Rainforest. Runtime, BTC, knots, policy changes. You are on deck.
No? No, you can't hear me? There we go. Okay. All right, cool. And then, all right, I'm Abraham. All right.
Micah.
Yeah, and this is Rainforest. So if you guys have heard of Amazon Marketplace, this is Rainforest, a hash rate store. So what problem are we trying to solve? We have people that want to participate in Bitcoin mining, but they don't have any mining power. What can they do? They can buy some hash rate. They could also buy a miner and participate in mining. But maybe they don't have any money, so okay, sure. What can you do? You can probably sell stuff to get in exchange for hash rate, and that's what Rainforest is. So maybe if you can flip to the app. We built a web application and a full stack that's running a Bitcoin node in a pool where you can set up a storefront and you can sell items in exchange for hashes or hash rate. You can kind of do the hash price conversion here, but you would say like, hey, I want to buy this object and I'm going to pay you this many hashes. So if you have a Bitaxe, you kind of sign up here and it's going to give you a Stratum URL and it'll give you a unique identifier for your worker name. So you plug that into your Bitaxe and then you can start mining. So this is there's your Stratum URL and then your worker name. And then the repository, it has, the way it's working, it's running a Bitcoin node and then it's got a datum proxy. So whenever you point your miner at this mining pool, you're pointing it at a datum proxy. And then inside of the datum proxy, one change that we did to it was we updated some of the code so that we could read what the workers are doing. So then we have a tracking API, and it's checking to see what is the current state of this miner, what is the progress that we have made on this transaction. So you're transacting through hash rate. Let me see. I forgot what else. So yeah, there's the datum proxy. This is a full web application. It's interacting with the backend, and that's kind of it, I think. Yeah. You can spin.
It's all containerized, so you can deploy it to the cloud. You can self-host it. Yeah, pretty flexible there as well.
Yeah. And then yeah, it's got the admin portal, so you can add products here, and you can expose your URL to the internet and have people buy stuff from your storefront. Yeah, I think that's it.
Can I buy a miner with hash rate?
Yeah, it's going to set us a couple terahashes, a couple hundred.
Can you use the miner you're buying to provide the hash rate to buy it with?
I don't think so. I think Bitmain does that.
Awesome. Great job, Rainforest. Up next is Runtime BTC knots policy changes.
The problem I saw was in the Bitcoin client, Bitcoin node, any mempool policy is configured in code, which means that if you want to make any changes to the policies, you either have to add some configuration that you can turn off, or you have to recompile the client. The configuration allows you to turn things off, but it doesn't allow you to change the policy. It doesn't allow you to add new policies. So that's not quite sufficient either. Yeah, that's really the goal here. If we want to accept or reject transactions, I wrote a way to inject Lua scripts so that we can write functionality and drop it in at runtime. So I've got a couple of policies here, demo 2 and demo. Demo 2, we can see right here, let's zoom in. This just always accepts. And then demo here is just an arbitrary thing, but we say if the transaction hash doesn't start with C and starts with a letter, then we reject it. Otherwise, we accept. So we can see here we got some transaction, starts with D, must not start with letter. Right? And this one here starts with 9, so it's accepted by all scripts. And we'll just go ahead and update this. And it is that easy. When I get the next transaction in here, it should get rejected by demo 2 over here. So this gives us a lot of flexibility as far as what we want to do, right? Any code you can write here. We can distribute this. So if you really like my mempool policy, I can send it to you via any means, and you can just drop it in your directory here. And it'll automatically be applied. That's pretty much it. Any questions?
Are you going to submit this also, submit to a NOTS PR?
It's already in a NOTS PR. But I will say it is highly draft. Like, this is more proof of concept that, hey, we can do this, and it's probably not too much effort to modularize this. There are probably a lot of other things that can be modularized in a similar fashion. But Mempools edition, we'll focus on Mempool stuff first. Cool.
Awesome, great job. All right, that is all. Judges, we are going to meet in the expo hall and deliberate, and we will be back here at 6:30 for awards. 6:30, we will kick off awards.
I'm here joined by a fantastic team who are going to tell us a little bit more about their project. Stephen? Maru. Thank you. Tell us more. Hash League.
Yeah, so look, we're going to set some context here. It's kind of a competition to be the coolest Bitcoin city, I think.
which city has the best technical Bitcoin conference, which city has the coolest Bitcoin hackerspace, which city throws the most lit parties for Bitcoiners, okay? Now, look, it's kind of a joke, right? I mean, it's friendly competition. Everyone wants to be the coolest Bitcoin city. And I think it's good because when you strive to make your meetup and your community really good, it makes more people want to hang out with you and learn about Bitcoin. And the more people get into it and learn about it, the more they want to, more people you get working on, contribute.
So you're saying it's not about the money, it's about the friends you make along the way?
It is.
Yeah.
But it's still competitive. Bitcoiners, like to be number one. So, on the other hand, at this conference, we've been talking about mempools and miner centralization. So we're talking about centralization of, block template construction, hardware manufacturing, where the hash rate is located. And we thought, what if we could take this community city competitiveness and push this towards miner decentralization? And so we made Hash League, and it's a leaderboard that ranks Bitcoin communities by the combined hash rate of their community mining pools. So this is live right now. It's at hashleague.atlbitlab.com. So you can go look at it. We got a map of the world right here. You can see, Bitcoin communities plotted all around the world. Let's take a look at Denver. Oh, they've got 0 hash rate. Let's look at Nashville. They have 0 hash rate. Let's look at Austin. They have 0 hash rate.
What about Atlanta?
What about Atlanta? They got 3.37 terahash right there. So we got some of our Bitaxes right there that are connected to our mining pool. And this website ingests the data. Yeah, it ingests the data from the mining pool running on our EC2 instance. And that's just proof that the API is real. It's nothing, beautiful to look at.
Don't just verify.
Exactly. And the thing is that any meetup who wants to be on here, they can click this button. It'll take them to a form they can fill out. And if they add the link to their pool's API, then this website will start ingesting them and add it to the leaderboard. So we took another public pool API out there, and we didn't know where they're located, so we chucked them in Antarctica. But look at that, that's 18.99 petahash. There's a lot of, plebs, running Bitaxes and stuff like that. And the basic idea is you want to beat ATL hash force. If you want to get higher than us on this list, you got to convince people in your community to run Bitaxes. You got to get them, running even bigger hardware. That's the jam. We built this with TypeScript and Vite. We used public pool for the actual mining pool part. Mempool.space API for the global hash rate because I was too lazy to tunnel into my Bitcoin core node. That's the gist. You can look at our commit history there, but you don't really seem like a commit history kind of guy.
Question.
Yeah.
If I want to join a local hash force, do I need to be in that city or can I direct my hash it remotely?
You can direct it to Atlanta.
Yeah. We don't have any geographic barriers set up for this condition, so...
So this is more like sports clubs, but with hash.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, and to be clear, it is gameable. If you can convince CleanSpark to point their hash rate at your mining pool, be my guest. This is more for fun amongst meetup organizers. It's a way to kind of drive a little bit of competitive spirit and get their community interested in running miners.
Yeah.
Just to see that, just to see.
It's our way to give back to our communities. We're both organizers. We both care about decentralization, and we want to encourage our community to partake in that.
And arguably, the bragging rights are worth way more than the block subsidies.
So other than bragging rights, what does everyone win?
Well, you do get, if you run a miner, then you're going to mine Bitcoin.
Of course. So you're winning Bitcoin as well as bragging rights.
Yeah. Or you're, offsetting the cost of your electricity bill, finding a clever way to heat your hot tub, all that good stuff.
Very cool. Hi, welcome back to Bitcoin Plus Plus. I'm here joined by Goodenough to talk about his project.
Memcooler. It's like Mempools, but way cooler.
Tell us more.
So there's services like Slipstream, which are centralized services where you can go and put in your credit card, and then you can get your non-standard transactions mined by submitting your transaction directly to the miner. So what I've done here is built a similar service, but on top of Noster. So like as a miner, I can create a new Noster account, and then I can announce myself on Noster and include some extra metadata like my location, maybe the energy type that I'm using, and then I can configure my filters so I can tell everyone on Noster what kinds of transactions I'll accept. And there's also a way to accept extra payments using Cashew tokens. So if you want to add your transaction to my mempool, then you're going to have to give me some sats in Cashew. So then this miner would go and announce themselves, and here is...
And this is a pool or an individual hasher?
It would be any miner that's constructing block templates.
Okay.
Because
the terms get a little bit overlaid, right? Miner, hasher, mining pool, anyone constructing block templates. That's clear. Thank you.
Exactly. Because here, as a transactor, you'll be broadcasting a transaction over Noster to the miner, and so you want them to be the one that can include that transaction.
I've got you.
So here, as like a user that wants to send a transaction, and they can go on Noster and see all of the miners that are advertising as doing this service, and then you can go and eventually I would add some sort of like filtering, so you can put in your transaction hex here. This is the raw transaction,
and see which ones would be able to relay your transaction.
Exactly, and what the cost would be.
Okay.
And so then you would like select a couple miners that you think maybe depending on how much hash rate they have and how long you want it to take for your transaction to get mined.
Mm-hmm.
You'd pick some and then send them your transaction over Noster. And so instead of relaying your transaction through the peer-to-peer protocol on Bitcoin, you're just using Noster and sending it directly to the miners. And now any miner can do this, and users can easily kind of shop around like it's a marketplace.
Very cool. Thank you very much. Hi, welcome back to Bitcoin++. We're here to look at Rainforest. What's Rainforest?
Yeah, so if you've heard of Amazon, we have a store that's called Rainforest, and it's a hash rate store. So can I show the slides?
Please.
All right. So we're trying to solve a problem here. I want to participate in Bitcoin mining. I don't have any hash rate. I don't have any mining power. What are some solutions to that right now? You can go buy a miner. You can go buy some hash rate on Lux. Maybe you don't have any money. How are you going to buy that hash rate? So we're saying, why don't you go sell your stuff in exchange for hash rate, and then maybe you can go get some blocks, get some Bitcoin. So our software here is called Rainforest. It's a full stack application. It's got the whole DevOps infrastructure where you can set up a whole storefront. It's going to give you a mining pool. It's going to give you the store where you can put products on your store, and then you can. Right now, he's going to check out an item here. So he's picking a sticker, and he's going to say like, "Hey, I'm going to pay you 1 trillion hashes for these stickers." That's going to give you in return a stratum, and it's going to give you a worker name. So the only way that pools can track you as an individual, they can track you by the stratums, and the unique identifier is usually the worker name. So you have this, we set up a datum proxy. So right now we're on a CPU miner. The CPU miner is connecting to the stratum, the datum proxy, and then that datum is on it's talking to a Bitcoin node. It's not on knots, it's just on core. It's on reg test right now, and it's mining blocks, or it's mining shares. So our software's, we modified datum a little bit so that we could expose an endpoint where we can see a JSON object of our workers and our miner status. So we have an API that's constantly checking with datum and saying like, hey, what's our current hash rate? What's our current share submitted? And then we're storing that into a database. And then you can see it over here. We're tracking the progress of, we're tracking the progress of one of the things that somebody was purchasing. It's very small. This is again, this is a CPU miner, so the number of shares right now, it's very minimal, and it's going to take quite a bit of time. I think right now it's like about 9 minutes a share.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of it. We do give you the user interface if you're a seller to put stuff on your storefront. And if you're a buyer, you're just
so the hash rate is your currency on these stores, is that right? Or
you, as a seller, the hash rate is your currency, and as a buyer, it's like items. So
it's whatever, right? It's so that it's commodities for hash rate.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think the place where this fits well would be like a telehash, where you're asking miners to give you some hash rate.
Community giveaways, this sort of thing.
Say like, hey, you get access to the park if you give us 50 terahashes for an hour.
Cool.
So,
and this is live and running right now?
It's running right now. There's a couple of issues that we ran into.
We're almost ready.
But
trying to get it set up in the cloud, but we were having some like networking issues, so we couldn't get all the way there.
It works on his machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Works on his machine right now.
Okay.
We have all the whole Docker stack, and where we could open source that, so that if you want to self-host your own wherever, that'd be an option.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
What do you got first, Evan?
So this is our hackathon project. My co-conspirators both got on planes home, so
Oh, really?
I took it over. I simplified it a little bit. we couldn't get any code working, so I'm just kind of presenting the idea.
Okay, cool.
You want to run through it?
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
This is a CTV payout transaction in Coinbase and Bitcoin block. So CTV payment pool example. Just try to jam it into Coinbase. This is a cool idea because we can, for 3 reasons. We can get around the Antminer firmware limitation on the size of the Coinbase, which I learned at Jungle's talk is actually how they killed P2 pools. So that feels good to stick it in.
Interesting, okay.
The other thing is it allows the mining pool to maximize fee revenue because we can shrink the Coinbase down to as small, basically as small as possible, jam more transactions in.
That's actually still to be made later, right? So you're not actually saving any like block space.
Yes, that's the trade-off. Well, let's go over the pluses and then the minuses.
Okay, got it.
We can maximize our fee revenue, like fitting more transactions.
As miner.
This is a non-custodial mining pool, which is pretty cool because the rewards never flow into the mining pool's wallet.
Right, they go directly.
Go directly on chain. There are some downsides to data availability problems. This is kind of trivial. You can just publish a tree structure
And an OffReturn.
to a website. You could do an OffReturn, but now you're eating up your data. Actually, ChatGPT suggested it to me.
Yeah, but then it's publicly available and everyone knows where to find it.
True, but is it really that hard to go to a website and
What
get
if
the
the
tree?
website goes down?
You better save it. I mean, that's an idea. You could jam it in the OffReturn. That eats into your fee revenue. Maybe put it in a description instead. I don't know. There's different ideas. But you're right. The trade-off is that users now have to come back and pay fees to maintain the tree. That's what these little A's are. Anchor outputs. They have 0 anchor outputs in the latest version. There's different ways you can do this. Someone suggested actually no anchor outputs and no fees at all. And then users could just users could mine their own transactions with 0 fees in a future block. Not necessarily like that idea.
Give that access to mining hash rate then and template construction. Right?
You have to keep mining in order to claim the rewards of your whole. I don't know. It's an interesting thought.
This is how we keep. This is the Bitcoin security budget. Really, is that like no miner can stop mining it without getting paid. Right?
You can't stop mining ever. Or you just have to pay out of ban.
Perpetual mining
to get someone else to help you claim your rewards. We were thinking about like new bindable, like if we do a music transaction here, and say these 4 guys could get together and claim this output and maybe do something interesting. Now we can just fork off your own payments. There's lots of stuff you can do.
Called it runtime BTC knots policy changes. Are you technical, like software developer?
I'm not a software developer. I'm a little bit technical.
Okay, so maybe we won't define runtime here, but we'll just say the policy is the Bitcoin node. So when we've got the mempool in the node running, we've got incoming transactions. The node decides, do I accept these transactions or do I reject them?
Yes.
And there's a set of steps that it goes through, and we call that policy. Well, it's not runtime. What we say is it's compile time. So it's built into the code, and it's very static. So if we want to make a change to this code, we want to tweak it, disable it, add new functionality, any of those problems, we have to change the code, rebuild the node, and then perhaps if I'm distributing binaries, I have to redistribute that node to you, the end user.
So does this enable policy changes for the individual rather than for the maintainer of the project?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And at runtime. So as my node is running, if I get a new script in, I don't have to rebuild anything. I just plop it into the scripts directory, and it automatically starts running here. So we got a live demo here. This is just on testnet, but we're pulling in transactions. I've got 2 policies just for demo. Demo 2 right now is always accepting. Demo only accept transactions if the transaction hash begins with a number.
Okay.
Or if the letter is C.
Okay.
You have a special logic here. C is for cookie. Show you what that looks like here. It's pretty straightforward. I think even as a non-programmer, like this is kind of easy to follow.
And this is essentially just knots on a miner, or this is for nodes, for non-mining nodes.
It could be a mining node, I suppose.
Okay.
But it's just any node.
Any node, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I built this into the knots client.
Fine, okay.
Yeah, so we just got our logic here, and it's one of the most simple, so it's like always accept. But if we want to change that, something that's arbitrary, always reject,
And we're defining here what types of transactions we're relaying, or
yeah, which ones we accept into our mempool.
It's mempool policy that we're editing here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so as we get new policies here, you'll start to get rejected by this demo too, because I changed it to always reject. So just as a demo, it's like kind of arbitrary, but the idea here is any of the existing policies we could also pull out into these scripts, and then end users can decide whether to opt in or out to these, or maybe like, I mostly like this policy the way it's written, but I don't like this aspect of it. You can tweak it yourself, and you can redistribute it to other people.
Can you tweak it in both directions, or can you only narrow the rule set?
Not quite sure I understand the question. So basically, you have all the transactions coming in, and then you apply a set of filters. So if any filter rejects it, then it's rejected.
What I guess what I'm asking is your set of filters at least as strong as NOS?
I see. Right now, yes.
Okay.
Because these are the NOTS filters. They happen, and then
you apply your ones after.
We apply ours.
Okay.
But the idea is we would remove these and have no filters by default, and you can opt in just by. I mean, we could provide a standard set of defaults, but you can opt in or out by accepting or not that script in that directory.
And who's the target audience for this?
It's anyone that's running a node, anyone that wants more customization and kind of what transactions they want to propagate on the network.
Does this drive greater mempool fragmentation, and if so, is that a problem in your eyes?
I think it might in some sense, but it doesn't in others. And I think the bigger thing is that it gives more power down to the end user, so it's an anti-centralization measure.
Sure.
Because right now, if we wanted to make change to a policy, I could make a code change here and I can push that to Luke, and then Luke can say, you know what, I don't like that, I'm not merging it in.
Sure.
And then that means that you can't benefit from my policy.
So what advantages does this have over a new implementation of Bitcoin, or is that essentially what this this is once you dial it back?
Yeah, ideally we would get this merged into something like NOTS, or even Bitcoin Core would be amazing. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Rather than creating a new implementation.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't create a new implementation for this.
And that's because of network effects with regards to the people that are using the product?
Yeah, it'd be just another thing to maintain. It would be another thing we'd have to advocate for and say hey, this is NOTS 2. It's better than NOTS 1, you know.
So this could be an additional feature for any user of Core or NOTS if it was merged into the project.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, the idea is give power back to the users, the people running the nodes.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I thought the projects were great. Yeah. I feel like I think one thing that's pretty impressive to me about the projects that we're looking at here is I think they're ambitious and they're cool and they're actual cool contributions to the Bitcoin ecosystem that I would want to see. The guy that made the plugins for policy is incredible and revolutionary. And if that actually goes anywhere as a project, that would change how I think people think about policy on Bitcoin and their ability to configure their own nodes. The guys that made the Explorer for contribution data is so good for people that want to do their own reporting, or even outside news organizations, let's say, that want to have a better view into what's happening on Bitcoin Core. Those sorts of data visualizations make it such that people can tell more interesting stories that are happening at the code level that's just really hard to see. I'm very impressed. To the Bitcoin plus Mempool edition hackathon finals. So we're gonna go through a few awards.
We're also going to close off the conference.
And we're gonna close off the conference.
Did everybody have a good time at Bitcoin Plus Plus?
Yeah. Great. All right, Alex, I'll turn it over to you. I think we're bringing up your slides here.
Yeah, so we had an incredible hackathon with a bunch of teams. There were 18 teams that submitted projects, and the judges were completely blown away with all of the projects. Everybody should be incredibly proud of what they built, and they should know that they competed in the most cutthroat hackathon in all of Bitcoin. That's a great point.
Be plugged in.
Awesome. Let's get started. So first, to shout out our absolutely star-studded panel of judges. We say this a lot, but I think this is the most star-studded panel of judges ever assembled in probably Bitcoin's
history.
Bitcoin plus history.
Bitcoin's history.
Bitcoin's history. I think there's an argument to be made.
Bitcoin's history. Yes. Yeah. Take it. Thank you for showing up and participating.
Sweet. Thanks for doing this. Yeah, the judges deliberated super hard. They were all super focused and had a lot of strong opinions, and there was fierce arguments in the back. So yeah, just know that everybody's projects were considered, and we should be happy with their results. All right, Nifty, you want to remind us about how our projects were judged?
We judge projects at Bitcoin Plus hackathons on a Women's Olympics criteria. So we look at 3 things: routines, difficulty. This is how difficult was the thing you were looking to accomplish. Execution, how well did you accomplish the thing you set out to? And then the last category we use is something called general effect, which is kind of like how much did you impress the judges with your dazzle and your swagger.
Exactly, and also applicability to the theme. So we had a theme at this one, didn't we?
The theme was Mempools and mining pools.
And mining pools. Awesome. Cool.
And swimming pools. And coin pool. Anyways, yeah, let's talk about the prizes and challenges.
Amazing. So to kick it off, for the first prize, the quirkiest hack, winning a pretty sick trophy and free tickets to future Bitcoin Plus Plus events. The prompt is, you didn't win a top prize, but you made the judges smile. The winner is OffReturn Space.
OffReturn.space. Come up. Do you have it handy? You just want to grab one ticket? Yeah.
But yeah, when you win a prize, come up on stage and let's take a picture.
We'll take a picture for posterity.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations on your quirky hack. Yeah.
Next up.
Next up, we have the most educational. So this is the most likely to inspire my mom to use Bitcoin. So again, winning a trophy and a ticket to a future Bitcoin Plus Plus event is Hash League.
Woo! Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, guys. Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Congratulations, Hash League.
Congratulations, Hash League.
Next up, we have our best beginner hack. This goes out to teams where every member of the team is a first-time contributor to Bitcoin open source. They're new to this, so this is their prize. And the winner of the best beginner hack is Bitaxes authentication.
Bitaxes. Stop people from hacking your Bitaxes with Bitaxes authentication. Very cool. Nice job, Calvin.
Actually solves the problem.
Congratulations.
Flip around. Congrats.
I think that should win the award for the best anti-hack hack, as well as being the best beginner hack.
Yeah, anti-hacks. Unhack.
Solving real problems for Bitcoiners here at Bitcoin Plus Plus.
Yeah.
What's next?
Most ambitious.
Most ambitious.
Ooh.
So for this project, the highest technical achievement or most progress made during the hackathon, happy to award this to Confidential Script.
Yeah.
I think the real ambitious part of this project was not just the design and architecture he came up with, but attempting to get AWS working in less than 24 hours. So congratulations.
Congrats.
Very cool.
All right, next up we're going to have our friends from the Bitcoin Design Foundation to talk
Jason,
about.
come on up.
Yeah, so Bitcoin++ is super happy to be partnering with the Bitcoin Design Foundation to promote healthy and better Bitcoin design and accessibility throughout the ecosystem. So they've so graciously partnered with us to present 2 prizes. So,
all right,
Jason.
yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity to come up here and to represent the Bitcoin Design Foundation. We have a design-a-thon that's going on right now, which we've been able to interweave into this hackathon, which we're really appreciative of. So there's a lot of good designs that were out there, and there was a lot of good attempts at accessibility as well. So without further ado, we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. All right, Hash League wins the best design. So not only do you get tickets to the next Bitcoin++ event, but you also get a nice Bitaxe, courtesy of our local meetup, Ron Rock Bitcoiners.
We got a lot of people up here.
And you get a sick trophy. And you get tickets. Ooh.
Can I resell these? No, I'm kidding.
Excellent.
Congratulations, Hash League.
And this next one is near and dear to me. This is the Accessibility Prize. I would like to ask myself, would this project make Hal Finney's life easier after he was diagnosed with ALS? And the project that wins this one was a very simple project, but I do think that it has a lot of ability to help people that have motor disabilities, cognitive disabilities. And so, without further ado, the winner is Toe Dip.
And Stephen, bring back one of those Bitaxes. Yeah, you don't get both of them.
Bitaxes goes to Toe Dip.
So yeah,
Sorry.
we gave you 2.
Steven.
You only get 1. Stephen, yeah. They'll just pull them. It's fine.
Congratulations.
Oh, come back. Take a picture. I'll also hold this. Sweet. Congrats. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Jason. Let's have another round of applause for the Bitcoin Design Foundation. That's really awesome. Super special to have them in our local community and able to attend. Design in Bitcoin, I think, is an important thing, and it's great to have some people really focused on that. So what's next, Alex?
Okay, so that's all of the side challenges. We're moving on to honorable mentions. These are teams that did very well on the normal judging criteria that we're using to select our top 3. So yeah, these teams aren't winning a first, second, or third, but they still scored very highly and were commended by judges. So we have 6 honorable mentions to give out, and you win a. Do you win trophies?
Yeah, we have trophies.
Yeah, we have
6
trophies and Bitcoin++ tickets.
And tickets.
So, a lot on the line here. All right, the first honorable mention is Open Auto Pay. Congrats, guys.
Cool. Spending Bitcoin by yourself isn't hard enough. Why not get some AI agents to help you with that? Medium of exchange Bitcoin maxis here. Next up for honorable mention number 2 is Core Explorer Kit. Come on up, guys. Very excited to have you. What I really liked about this project is how well it makes information on the chain easy to see. I think, reporting on what's happening in Bitcoin Core is really hard. Oh, a smile. Hi. And so it's awesome to see people, I think, focusing on making what's happening in core and the mempool more visible. So thanks, guys. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, mempool 2. Honorable mention number 3 goes to CTB mining pool payouts. Woo! Come on up, guys. Yeah. I have 2 tickets here. Great.
Might need some help with those.
Oh.
I might need some help grabbing.
Okay, yeah, next. Yeah, cool.
Congrats.
Congratulations. Oh, there's just one of you. Okay.
Yeah. Can't use it too much. Congrats.
Congratulations. Yeah, thanks, Evan.
Our next honorable mention goes to Garbage Man. Congrats, man.
Someone's got to take out the trash. Might as well be the garbage man. Congratulations, Chris. Nicely done. Honorable mention number 5 goes to Bitaxes authentication. Not only was it the best beginner hack, also thought it was deserving of yet another trophy. So congratulations, Calvin. Again, it's best way to keep best anti-hack, I think, is a good way of saying it. So thanks, Calvin.
Nice.
Woo! Congratulations. And our last honorable mention goes to Rainforest. 3 guys. I'll get 3 tickets. There we go.
Congratulations.
Congrats,
project.
guys.
Great
Yeah,
project. Great
really
project.
well done.
All right.
Cool. Thank
Nice
you.
job. All right.
All right. What's next, Alex?
We're moving on to what we've all been waiting for, the best overall. So we've got a lot to give out. So for this hackathon, we have our top 3 prizes: first, second, and third place. Split between those 3 teams, they will receive 10 million sats between them. So 5 million, 3 million, and 2 million, respectively. In addition, they'll get tickets to upcoming Bitcoin Plus conferences, and thanks to our friends at Solo Satoshi, they'll be getting Bitaxes Gammas for every member of their team.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the biggest prize ever given out at a Bitcoin.
And a Bitcoin Plus. So thank you to all of our people who donated prizes and Satoshis. So great.
Awesome. So what we've all been waiting for. But first, a quick shill. Bitcoin Plus is also running a hackathon at the moment for the
virtual
a virtual hackathon for the Bitcoin 2025 conference in Vegas. This hackathon has about a week left, like 10 days left, which is kind of insane.
So Alex, if I participate in the hackathon here, can I take my project and submit it for the online virtual hackathon?
That's actually precisely what we suggest to all of the hackers in this room. Take the project that you just made for this event and submit it online to the Vegas Hackathon. You can keep working on it for another week or not. Submit it to the same hackathon, and you get a free ticket to the conference. It's a pretty good deal. We'd
love it to keep working on it and see what you launch, and make the best application that you can, of course, for this hackathon, because it's going to be very competitive. We already have over 500 submissions online.
Participants. We have or 600 at this point. Registrants on DevPost. But this room is a much. We love organizing this hackathon, but this is the flagship Bitcoin Plus hackathon, and the caliber of the hackers in this room is just on another level. So we think all of you can do quite well at this hackathon as well. We really encourage you guys to submit your projects.
Thanks. But without further ado, let's move on to our.
What were we talking about?
Our finalists.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In third place, winning a trophy, 2 million Satoshis, Gamma Bitaxes, and Bitcoin Plus tickets, goes to
Mempools. I got that.
Oh yeah, you got a Bitaxe. Pretty cool.
Congratulations.
Congrats, man.
Couldn't have picked a cooler hat. Very
Nice
cool.
job.
Congratulations, Damien. Okay. Next up, in second place for a trophy, 3 million Satoshis, Gamma Bitaxes, and Bitcoin Plus tickets goes to Runtime Bitcoin Knots policy changes. These are all like, you got it. Here, let me get it.
Thanks. Congrats.
Congratulations.
Oh, flip the trophy.
Very cool. Very ambitious project to let you set your own policy changes with Lua script. Very cool, thank you. And then for last, but certainly not the least, first place, trophy 5 million Satoshis, Gamma Bitaxes, and Bitcoin Plus tickets goes to Ashley. Wow.
Woo! Congratulations. Well deserved.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Another couple Bitaxes.
I feel like the, yeah. Thanks, guys. Congratulations, y'all.
Congrats, guys.
Like, they've got so many Bitaxes now. It's gonna be hard to
Steven, don't go far.
outcompete them in the hash lead.
Yeah. Don't go far. You're up next. So that's it. That's the
Wait, we have a few more prizes to give out
Oh, we do?
for our volunteers and some really amazing people that help make this event happen. So I'm going to go ahead and hand out. You'll notice here we have a couple of prizes left. I want to make sure that these go to the people that help make this event possible. We really appreciate all of our volunteers that came out to make this an awesome experience. So I don't have slides for this, but we made some prizes for our lunch superstars. So if Teresa and Jack are here, I don't know about you guys, but I really appreciated the lovely lunches we had out in the park. Teresa and Jack, this is the second year they've stepped up and organized and done all the logistics and planning for making that happen. So, maybe we have a Gamma.
Oh, yeah?
I think we have I have extra there. So, thank you for all of your work. I don't know if Jack's around, but I'll give you his.
Jack left.
Okay, okay, cool.
I'll get it to him. I'll get it.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Yeah. Thank you,
Victor?
Teresa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And then we have two more things. This year, we appreciated every volunteer, but we had one volunteer that we felt went above and beyond, and we want to recognize their work. So is Kiki still in the house? Come on up. Thank you, yeah. Every volunteer puts in hours and works long hours on their shift, but Kiki was here the longest and worked far beyond the time that we were asked her to put in. So thank you for showing up and putting the work in. We definitely noticed, and hope that you pick the right league for your hashing with your new Bitax Gamma. Yeah. Thank you. All right, and finally, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the live stream, but we had some of the best AV stuff happening this time. So we wanted to recognize a volunteer that really helped out with our AV. Is Matthew Vuk still in the house? Well. Matthew's been doing some really awesome work helping us both with recording videos as well as making sure the live stream stays on. So again, we appreciate your time and energy. It's awesome to be getting the word out about Bitcoin Plus Plus, so thank you. Yeah. Cool. All right, I think that's everything for our awards.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody for participating in the hackathon. We really appreciate your efforts. This was a new format. This was an experiment. We did an expo. This has been something we've thought of for a while, and we finally got around to doing it. So if you have any feedback or ideas about how to make this process better, we are all ears and would love to hear what you have to say. So thanks so much for being involved.
So we've got one more hackathon that someone's going to show. Is that what's next?
Yeah, we do.
So Steven, let me come up real quick. Steven is an award-winning hackathon winner, and he's also putting on his own hackathon in conjunction with one of our favorite Bitcoin communities in the U.S., Atlanta. I can just.
Yeah, cool. That's actually easier. Okay, everyone's probably tired of sick of seeing my face right now. I'm gonna keep this brief because I know everybody probably wants to get to the bar. But yeah, so we have a hackerspace in Atlanta called ATL BitLab. Have a lot of Bitcoin meetups there, other tech kind of meetups. I've been realizing over the past several months that like one of the meetup formats that like, or topics that like doubles or triples attendance is mining. And I started to dig into why it is. And you know, there's something that's mysterious about the mining that really attracts people. It's like your computer can magically print money and it's like, maybe I can make some profit off of it. And then you learn it's more complicated than that. But then you get into the whole energy aspect of it. There's just a lot to explore with mining and people like it. But you know, I think like we've been talking about here, there's problems with it, right? There's centralization that we're trying to fight, you know, centralization of hash rate, manufacturing, block templates. And I've been in Austin for about a week now, and you know, between this event and the Texas Energy and Mining Summit, I've gotten to learn a lot. So what we've been thinking about in Atlanta is how can we take this kind of interest that we're seeing from people in mining and direct this toward the problem of miner centralization. And so we are launching the Battle of the Mine Hackers in June 7th. This is a month-long global hackathon. You don't need to be in Atlanta to participate. You can be anywhere in the world. We're going to have 3 tracks to this. We're going to have a software track, so you can work on your Stratum v2, your Datum, Braidpool, eCash, whatever you think, but find ways to decentralize mining pools with software. You can work on hardware. You can tinker with Bitaxes. If you need an S9 carcass and you'll pay for shipping, we'll send you an S9 carcass. So hardware is fun to tinker with. We have an energy track. If you want to do heat reuse, if you want to find a novel form of energy that's being wasted currently and put it to Bitcoin mining, that's all on the table too. So yeah, this is a first from us. Obviously, we've had a lot of fun going to everybody else's hackathons, right? We've been to several Bitcoin++ hackathons. We've been to the Bolt Fun, Legend of Lightning series, back when those events used to happen, plenty of Pleb Lab events. So the whole Atlanta community is really enjoyed and benefited from the hospitality and hard work of every other Bitcoin Cities hackathon. So we're doing our own now. And now it's our turn to host. So it's global participation. If you are in the Atlanta area anytime during the month of June, we will have some in-person jam sessions you might be able to catch. But all of our builder workshops from our mentors are going to be live streamed. They'll help you out with the software, the hardware, the energy stuff you might need to know. So there'll be the resources there to support you. We're sponsored by CleanSpark, Pleb Lab, Choya, Cryobike, Bitcoin Park, and this will all be taking place during Atlanta Tech Week. But yeah, look, you've been at Bitcoin++, you've been learning all about mining and Mempools this week, so take all the stuff you've learned, join this hackathon, and if you want to join, you can just go to minehackers.atlbitlab.com. You can scan the QR code and that'll get you there, but yeah, hope to see you fighting centralization in June. And I'll just also say too, thank you, Lisa. This has been an incredible event.
Okay, a few more things. We're almost done, I promise. How do I hit the presentation button? That's fine. We'll just do it. Nope. Left. This one? Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Hey, okay, so a lot of thank yous that we've been handing out to volunteers, people that are working the event, our MC, wonderful MC Walton, thank you. Also, thank you to our sponsors, NIDIG. We had 2 title sponsors this year for Bitcoin++, which is NIDIG. They're pioneering the future of Bitcoin, which is a great fit for Bitcoin++ because we're at the frontier of Bitcoin. And HRF, Human Rights Foundation, who's uniting the world to stand against tyranny, particularly financial freedom. So big thank you to both of them for making events like this possible and allowing us to hand out hackathon prizes, lunches, everything that we need to make such a wonderful event. So thank you to them. I also noticed that we had some merch that we were selling. I thought people, we had a lot of debates about who's running what nodes, et cetera. Thought it might be interesting to do a little statistics around hat sales in case you're wondering. So if you haven't bought a hat, I'm sorry, your vote did not get counted. It's not too late though. You can always go to the merch shop. I'll have the link. So we sold 30 core hats over the last week and 26 knots hats. I think the market has spoken. If you want to continue speaking a little loudly, there's always shop.btc++ or pp.dev. You can buy your hat. There's some libbitcoin and BTCD options, etc. on there. So diversity of clients. Not any currently yet. We had a question about Libra Bitcoin. Cool. So if you're looking for other opportunities or things to check out to wear your hat at, I wanted to give a shout out to the other great technical conference in the United States happening this October in Atlanta. Seems like there's Atlanta stuff happening. They're running their 7th conference this October, I believe, 13th to 16th. And Tidwell's here if you've got questions. I'm sure he'd be happy to tell you about what to expect at Atlanta's biggest technical Bitcoin conference. Speaking of conferences around, so that's going to happen in the US. Speaking about conferences around the globe, if you want to visit another Bitcoin++, this is our only US event this year. But we will be having not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 more events coming up before the end of the year. We're going to be in Riga talking about privacy ahead of Baltic Honey Badger Conference in August. We'll be in Istanbul talking about scaling Bitcoin with zero-knowledge proofs and other protocols such as BitVM in September. We'll be in Berlin talking about Lightning at our first ever Lightning++ in October. And then we'll be in our first ever East Asia conference. We'll be over in Taiwan in December talking about sovereignty of all things. So hope to see some of you at one of our events later this year. And then, of course, we're already planning 2026, and we'll have more details about future events coming soon, so pay attention there. What else have I? Oh yes, in case you missed our earlier announcement, I'd like to reiterate that we're doing our online hackathon that ends in a week, and we really love to have some more registrations from our in-person event. So submissions are due May 20th. And then I've completely forgotten what's next. Oh, I'm sure everyone's already on the Telegram, but if you want to keep in touch for future updates about what we're doing, more events, more conferences, more hackathons, etc., Telegram's always a great place to hang out and find out more information. And that's everything. So thank you again, everyone, for a wonderful Bitcoin++. It's our 9th ever one. And I hope to see you all maybe back here or at a future event in the future. So thank you.